Imagine standing in a snowy forest and hearing the deep rumble of a creature that hasn't walked the earth for 4,000 years. No, this isn't a fantasy novel or a scene from Jurassic Park. It's something very real, and it's happening now. Scientists are actively trying to bring back extinct species, not in some distant future, but in this decade. You might be wondering, how is this even possible? Isn't extinction permanent? Well, not anymore. Thanks to breakthroughs in gene editing, synthetic biology, and ancient DNA recovery, what once seemed impossible is suddenly within reach. We're not talking about cloning dinosaurs from mosquitoes and amber. We're talking about real animals with real DNA that humans saw with their own eyes. Let's begin with the star of this story, the woolly mammoth. Woolly mammoths once roamed across Siberia, North America, and Europe. Towering beasts wrapped in thick fur, surviving in sub-zero temperatures. They were hunted by early humans and eventually wiped out, either by climate change, human activity, or both. But they left behind something priceless: DNA, frozen in time. Preserved in the icy ground of the Arctic, mammoth remains still carry enough genetic material to be studied, sequenced, and, incredibly, used. Here's how it works. Scientists use a tool called CRISPR, a revolutionary gene editing technology, to copy specific mammoth genes and insert them into the DNA of a modern Asian elephant, its closest living relative. They don't need the full mammoth genome. They just need the important parts, the genes responsible for cold resistance, fur density, and fat storage. Over time, they create what's known as a functional hybrid, an elephant-mammoth mix, built to thrive in cold climates. The goal isn't just to make a mammoth for a museum. It's much bigger. It's about rebuilding what scientists call the Pleistocene Park, a real ecological project in Siberia, where these creatures could roam again and restore a dying ecosystem. Here's the twist. Mammoths trampled snow, knocked down trees, and allowed grasses to grow in their place, reflecting sunlight instead of absorbing heat. With mammoths gone, shrubs took over. Permafrost started melting, and carbon trapped beneath the surface began leaking into the air. Bringing back mammoths, some argue, could help slow that process and combat climate change. It sounds unbelievable, but investors believe it too. A company called Colossal Biosciences has raised over $75 million to make it a reality. Their bold claim? The first woolly mammoth could be born by 2028, but mammoths are just the beginning. Let's talk about the dodo. Yes, the famously extinct clumsy bird from Mauritius that humans wiped out in the 1600s. For centuries, it became the symbol of extinction. Now, it could become the symbol of resurrection. In 2023, scientists successfully sequenced the entire dodo genome. And with the help of CRISPR, they're working to re-engineer its closest living cousin, the Nicobar pigeon, to bring back a version of the dodo that could one day live and breed in the wild again. Then there's the Tasmanian tiger, or thylacine, a striped, dog-like marsupial predator that vanished in the 1930s. Its extinction was caused entirely by humans, who feared it would harm livestock. Now, researchers in Australia are using preserved thylacine DNA and cutting-edge reproductive science to bring it back. But here's where things get even more surreal. What about ancient predators like the saber-toothed cat? What about giant ground sloths, or even Neanderthals? Some scientists believe that if the DNA is intact enough, we could technically resurrect them too. But the deeper the past we reach into, the darker the ethical questions become. Let's pause for a moment, because this is where science meets morality. Yes, we might be able to bring them back, but should we? Who decides which species deserve a second chance? Where would we release these animals? Would they survive in modern ecosystems that have completely changed? Would they suffer in captivity, never truly living as their ancestors did? And what about the resources being used? Some argue that the money and science behind de-extinction should be spent saving endangered species we still have. After all, rhinos, tigers, and countless amphibians are disappearing. Right now, there's also the Jurassic Park concern. Just because we can doesn't mean we should. But others argue something more powerful, that we owe these animals a chance. Humans were often the reason they vanished in the first place, through hunting, habitat destruction, or invasive species. Maybe bringing them back is a form of redemption. And here's the twist no one saw coming. De-extinction might become a business. In the near future, we might visit bioparks with living mammoths or dodos, not in cages, but in controlled wild habitats. We might even use this tech to create species that never existed, hybrids, designed for specific climates or purposes. The lines between nature and science are blurring fast. We're not just observing evolution anymore, we're editing it. So here's the big question for all of us. If humanity can reverse extinction, are we fixing nature or rewriting it? And once we start turning back the clock, where do we stop?